Lately, there's been a lot of discussion about the SPS-DAO. In this episode, we're going to take a look back at all the DAO proposals that have passed and the impact they've had on the game. If this sounds interesting to you, please stand by. Hey, all you Splinterheads, welcome back. Bronze Dragon here saying thanks for dropping by. I appreciate your time. If you like this kind of Splinterlands content, please like and subscribe. Pass it around to your friends that also enjoy Splinterlands content. I appreciate it. Okay, with that said, I was working out this morning, and as usual, I try to catch up on my Splinterlands related videos and information. And I was catching one of Dwayne's most recent videos, and I was listening to what he was discussing, and it brought up the topic in my head that I had the idea for this video. Now, it's hard for me. I don't know. I try to separate what I cover from what other people are covering, because I don't want to sound like I'm copying or anything, right? But a lot of these topics are one and the same that we all cover. We all just try to cover it from a different aspect, give our own opinion, etc. So, but one of the things he was talking about, and I'll leave a link in the show notes so you can check it out to get his full opinion. I'm not going to focus on his opinion, but what I wanted to go into this video, because there's been a lot of discussion about the SPS-DAO over the months, and I don't think a lot of people have read the white paper, know exactly what the DAO is for, and that's not exactly what this video is about. What I wanted to do is I wanted to go in and look at all the DAO proposals that have passed. I'm not going to look at the ones that have failed because there's a long list, right? But I want to look at the ones that have passed and briefly discuss the impact that they have had on the game. And of course, I'm not going to be able to cover all angles. So that's why I'm depending upon you. If you have an opinion on one of them or more of them, go ahead and leave it in the comments and we can discuss it going forward. But what I wanted to do is, first of all, lately there's been First of all, there's a delineation between the DAO and the actual Splinterlands game, and that is there for a number of different reasons. I'm not going to dig deep on this, and Matt has talked about this in the past, but we need to understand that there's a delineation. It used to be very blurred because the company used to kind of control all of that, right? But now we have a separate entity. We have Claiborne, who is managing the DAO, and everything's been separated out into different wallets and everything. And we went from a situation which was very messy. In a lot of cases, the first few years, they were finding wallets where they didn't know they had money, and et cetera, et cetera. So, but we're in a much better situation now. And I think you'll agree that since Claiborne started, we've seen a ton of proposals come through, and it's mostly from Claiborne on behalf of the DAO, but from other people too, so, and obviously everybody's trying to use these to improve the game with good ideas, right? But I do want to make the delineation there that some of these that have come through and passed aren't necessarily the overseen by the what do I want to say? Some of the proposals that have passed are not necessarily in control of the DAO. Okay, they are actually under control of the Splinterlands team. I'll give you an example. The most recent one by Matt, okay, about changing Wild, the changes he wants to put into Wild. That is something that is wholly controlled by the Splinterlands team, right? Matt and his team, right? He did not even have to put that up for a vote. That is not controlled by the DAO, right? That is a game change. It didn't really have anything to do with what the DAO controls. He put it up just to kind of get the feel from everybody that was voting on it. Okay, so that's about the best example I can give for that. Okay, so before we dig into this, I wanted to take a minute, since I had mentioned Dwayne earlier, and say congratulations to Dwayne, okay? In this day and age, we get bombarded with so much bad news that it's really nice to hear good news for a change. And if you're not familiar with the good news that he revealed on his website, go check out the video because it's very good news for his family. And I want to say congratulations, Dwayne. And let's go ahead and jump back into it. But I didn't want to forget to say that. So anybody can go ahead and check out the proposals. Just navigate over to proposals and then change the filter down to past. And this is what we're going to do. And I kind of went back and forth with in my head, should we start with the newest and work backwards or start with the oldest? And I think that I'm going to start with the oldest. Now, this is going to be a history lesson kind of for new players and just kind of a refresh for old players because some of this stuff you may have forgotten about. And you can see I'm scrolling down. There's so many over time. But the DAO proposals, they started keeping track of them and numbering them in 2022. And the number 2, I forget where the number 1 is, but the number 2 was in August of 2022. And you can see that it was sponsored by this first group is all sponsored by the SPS-DAO. Now, the reason why I want to go over this, and you may be interested in this if you're new, is to get a firm footing in what has happened in the game in the past. Because as we all know, the popular quote goes something like, "Those who do not learn from their mistakes are doomed to repeat them." And obviously, that's not word for word, but that's the idea, right? So I think there's a lot of things where we could go back to what we had in the past, but there was a good reason why we changed it to start with, right? So, we don't necessarily want to make our first option, well, let's just go back to what we were doing, right? So, okay, so let's start with the number 2. The first one we'll go over is the split ranked battle rewards pool by league. Okay, so if we navigate into this, you'll see that this is, all the leagues used to come out of big pools, right? And that was being abused by mainly people who had multiple accounts in lower end leagues, bots mainly, etc. This is the proposal that divided them up by, went from bronze, silver, gold, and each one had a specific pool. So that's what this one did. It passed, and that was put into place, and I think that was a good change. Next one up, reallocate SPS from team pool to tower defense reward pool. Now this is on the tip of our discussion because we've been talking about tower defense this week. Okay, so this is the Splinterlands team would like to propose reallocating 1 million SPS tokens per month for the pool that was initially reserved for the team to a new reward pool for the upcoming Splinterlands tower defense game. And I thought about getting deeper into this, but not in this video, because the tower defense game is getting ready to go live, and it's been a long time in the making, but you can see that the pool is 1 million SPS tokens per month. To the information that we were given this last week, those tokens will be given out, which interestingly enough, what the game designers and Double Coconut put out this last week is that it's going to be completely different as far as how SPS is doled out in the game to what it was originally designed to be. Okay, the staking of cards, the staking of SPS, etc. And we're not going to go into that, but that was this one, and you can see the date on this was September 7th, 2022. Okay, next up, they had several Rift Watchers pre-sale proposals, and we know how that went. I'm not going to dig into that, but the Rift Watchers pre-sale went off okay. Begin SPS rewards payout for tower defense pack holders. Okay, this is the one where if you held tower defense packs, you started earning a certain amount of SPS per day. And I think that at this point in time, and I'm not certain if it's changed over time, but I think at this point in time, if you own 10 to 12 packs, you get like 1 SPS per day, something like that. And that's still happening for right now. But as we know, the soft launch of the game is next week, and then the hard launch, theoretically, that week after, if they don't run into any obstacles. Okay, the next one, number 8, is begin SPS reward payouts for land holders. Okay, so this is the one where they started giving out SPS if you held land before the changeover, and for a nice long while we received SPS if you just held land plot, a certain amount per land plot. So that's what this one is about. Going forward, adjust rewards based on card level. Let's take a look at this because this topic has been talked about lately. Proposal is being put forth to vote of all staked SPS token holders to adjust the amount of reward shares awarded in ranked battles based on the level of cards used by the winning player in the battle. And this is what came down to. The way it came out to is where you had a battle, and then if you were using under-level cards, then you had a minus to what you earned. That's what it really came out to. Then they give the charts. Let's see here. I'm not going to dig into the details, but that's the idea. The idea was if you weren't playing sufficiently leveled cards, then you would receive a minus for it. Okay, next one up, add SPS rewards for guild brawls. This is where SPS was introduced, if it will load. Proposals being put forth to vote all staked SPS token holders to decide whether or not to add SPS token rewards for guild brawls, which we know went through and they break down the percentage of the reward pool, the SPS per brawl cycle, and the SPS per year. So you can check that if you like, but that's what brought SPS to our guild brawls, and it's like the major earnings for me now, so that's why I keep playing. They're fun, Next up, replace DEC liquidity pool rewards with SPS. Not going to dig into that because I'm not very knowledgeable on liquidity pools. Daily burn of unsold Chaos Legion packs. We know how that went. Got rid of them. Still hasn't solved the numbers issue in the Chaos Legion cards overall, but it got rid of the excess packs that were still hanging around. Price, blood, and power stones in DEC. That went through, and I don't buy them frequently, but you can go over here and buy them if you need to open your guild Gladius cases. Sell 2 billion DECB for DEC or vouchers. That went through, and as far as I know, it worked out pretty fine. I bought some. I didn't overbuy on it, but I ended up using that for various land purchases. So it worked out well. These were sold, and you got a discount on them compared to DEC, but they were soul-bound, and they were typically only usable in situations where you were burning. There may be still some out there, I'm not sure, but I think for the most part, most of it's burned off by now. I bought some, I didn't overbuy, and what I ended up using the rest of mine in that one big burn event. So there's that, and once again, we're in January of 2023 now. Next up, Peak Monsters create a dashboard to view and interact with community proposals suggestions. That went through. I'm not sure because I have not checked that out on Peak Monsters. I navigated over to Peak Monsters just to check it out because I hadn't taken advantage of that. And I noted that they added a whole new section for the recently voted in DAO treasurers. So if you go on Peak Monsters under Explorer, you can see a new section for treasurer, and we can see those people that were voted in and various information about them. But what we're talking about here is you can go into proposals, and they have a proposal section here. So that wrong page, that went through, and it looks like it was implemented. SPS-DAO mints promo card for SPS stakers. So correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I believe this was the Vruz promo, and it turned out to do what it was set out to do. I believe this is really meant to encourage more SPS staking and voucher burn. So that's what that was about. I'll close these two tabs out. Now, next up, number 22, reserve enough Chaos Legion packs to provide rewards until Rebellion. That went through, and we received Chaos Legions packs in our chests randomly. It was a very low percentage chance, but that ended up happening. And as far as I know, the DAO still has a bunch of Chaos Legion packs in its reserves for whatever use. Maybe not. I believe so, though. Offer land starter packages for sale by burning DEC and DECB. I took advantage of those as well for my land up front. They had 3 different starter packages offering a variety of different things for your land. If you're interested, you can look that information up. But I mean, at this point in time, they're all past. If you look at the land market, and then you see like building in the box, and there's the there used to be some other filters here. Unstable totem, building in the box, and there was one other one, but these were the packages that got instituted there, and you could buy them. I bought mine with DECB. That's primarily what I bought that large amount of DECB for, and it came in handy. So there's that. The next one up is allocate up to 30 million SPS to pursue exchange listings. This was passed. I think most of these proposals that want to get on provide money to or funds to get us on exchanges have passed. Now, as far as what that's led to and where we're at now, I'm not exactly sure. Some of them have went through and actually action has been taken on them, and some of them have went through and no action has been taken on them. So we'll leave that there. Land SPS distributed to those who have surveyed. This was the changeover where you needed to have surveyed your land instead of just holding them not surveyed. And surveyed, if you're not familiar, if you're new, you can buy an unsurveyed plot of land, and at that point it's you don't know what it is, right? Then when you go through the surveying process, then you it's basically a random number generator which decides which type of land it is, what it's got on it, and what rarity it is, and where it's at, and etc. So next up is the further evolution of the SPS distribution for land, and that's distribute land SPS rewards via mining for land phase 1.5, and this was voted in before it actually happened, but it's basically what led to the current situation. Okay, they're saying that not only do you have to hold a land and have surveyed it, but now you need to be mining on it. So you actually have to have an SPS mine on your land property to be able to earn SPS, and we're still in that situation now. Splinterlands will try to implement anti-bot measures in modern format. Once again, there's been a long list of changes over the years that have targeted bots, and we're still in that situation. I think overall, it's generally got into it's gotten better over the years, because if you look at the numbers, it's just and that's putting aside this. Putting aside the argument of are bots good, are bots bad, I just think that the numbers of bots are way down. Even though we're still putting changes into play to combat them, the numbers that we're working with today are much smaller than what they were. So this is the one that basically ended up being that bots could no longer be used in modern. That's where we stood with this one, and we're still there. You can use bots in wild, but not in modern. So that's what that ended up with. Changed the threshold for passing the pre-proposal stage, just a change. It brought down it changed what needed to happen for a pre-proposal to go through. Update market fee to include 2% to burn. This basically was helping out and increasing the burn on DEC when you paid your market listing fee. End SPS airdrop claims and send unclaimed SPS to the DAO. This was basically cleanup from the SPS airdrop, which had ended a year earlier, but there were portions of people who had not claimed their airdrop. And basically it was a cleanup effort, and that went through and happened. Implement a max base production limit for land plots in 1.5. I'm forgetting, so I had to read through this. This means that the maximum possible total production for a single land plot in phase 1.5, including all maxima. Okay, so this is Matt setting a ceiling on what one land plot can make at the max, all staked out with all bonuses and everything like that. So this was getting in preparation for the 1.5 release. Price Riftwatcher packs in DEC this past. This is where he puts forward that you can buy Riftwatcher packs for DEC, and then all the DEC would go to the DAO, and then that set the bar for how the Rebellion packs would be put out, and it brought about this idea in my mind that it's the money's going to the DAO, and then the DAO would treat Splinterlands, the company, as kind of a contractor, right? So you will see a lot of these. Hey, the SPS, we need money from the SPS-DAO to pay us to do this, to release this card, or do this type of work. So the two different entities, remember, right back to the beginning of my conversation, right? So that's what you're going to see going forward. And I think this is one of the first times where we largely talked about that. So that's what that was about. Require DEC burn for soulbound cards to be used on land. Yeah, we know how that stands. So, the idea is there's going to be a certain cost to burn DEC to make soulbound cards be able to be used on land. We still haven't got to that point, okay? I would like it because I have a bunch of extra soulbound cards, would like to be able to use them on my land. Still can't do it, okay? So that's one of those things that's kind of on the back burner at this point. Turn on DAO liquidity pool rewards. Once again, I'm not really up on all the liquidity pool ideas. However, I will say that once Claiborne came in, one of his primary things on his list was to clean up the liquidity pools and theoretically, I guess, get the money situation in a better. So the DAO is being used more efficiently and less waste. That's the way I took it, right? But this was way before he took over. Implement daily burn of Riftwatcher packs. Same kind of idea that we are actually using now with Rebellion. The whole idea is that packs should only last so long. There should be a, like when Rebellion went in, this Riftwatcher burn and the Chaos Legion burn before that was instituted after the packs were already out. Well, when Rebellion came in, they had already put that into place, the whole idea of burning off at a certain rate so that the card packs are only going to be out for so long. And that's instituting like this, I don't want to say FOMO, but in your mind that Rebellion packs are only basically what he said going to be out until the end of 2024. And at that point, whether people have bought them or whether they're burned off, they're gone. Okay, so if you want some, you're going to have to buy them, right? And after that, it's just going to be on the aftermarket, right? So either way, that's where that idea came from, and we're looking at July in 2023. Update terms of service to prohibit the use of battle helpers in modern, ranked, tourneys, and brawls. I think that got generally 69% for. I think the people that were against it, my opinion is there's no bots in modern. You shouldn't be using battle helpers, especially if you're playing in tourneys and brawls. That's just my opinion, right? There's a lot of people out there will go to any lengths to win, okay? I try to fight my brawls in any tournaments I do them all myself, so I think that's fair. I was very firmly in the 4 team on this one, and this was put out by Dave McCoy. Update terms of service to prohibit bot use in tourneys and brawls. Same type of idea. I don't think that tournaments and brawls should have any bots or any battle helpers. The problem is that it's hard, and they've more recently this year hired on somebody to help with that. But it's hard without somebody strictly dedicated and really skilled at looking at network activity and blockchain activity and picking out who's using a bot, who's using a battle helper, etc. This discussion gets very deep. Either way, it's hard to do, and they didn't have the people, enough people on the team that were good at it to do it. even if they did, they wouldn't have enough people on the team to dedicate somebody to doing that. So anyway, this is where it passed, and we're still getting into the situation where hopefully it's getting better. Move SPS rewards to gameplay for Soul Keep. Okay, so this passed, and this is the whole idea, kind of along the lines of the progression for SPS, handing out SPS for land. This is the progression of moving away from just getting SPS for holding Soul Keep packs. This vote went through and it passed, but it still hasn't been put into place because guess what? Soul Keep took a lot longer to come out than what was expected. Look, we're looking at August of last year. They passed this expecting that Soul Keep was going to go live in the fall last year. Yeah, well, it's going live hopefully in a week or two. So this will go into place once the game goes live. You will no longer get SPS for just holding Soul Keep packs. You will have to go ahead and open them and use them to get SPS in the daily tournaments, as that is the only way you're going to get SPS. Hire Steam Monsters Corporation to develop and distribute the Rebellion card set. That went through. We know how that went. Rebellion's still selling, and like I said, it's still burning as well, and it's due to be done by the end of this year, 2024. Hire Claiborne as DAO community and project manager. This went through, and he got hired. We know. I think he's been doing a good job. I think with the amount of actions he's taken and proposals he's put out and all the organization he's done for different people, because I know he's taken other people's ideas if they were good enough and put them through the DAO so that other people did not have to pay for that because they were good enough ideas to improve the game, and largely doing a lot of what I consider cleanup and reorganization of the DAO funds and how they're being used. So like I said, I'm not a mathematician, but it seems the general feeling I have from all of the things he's put out is that he's cleaning things up, getting everything in order. Okay, so and this is where we're start to get into what I'm just talking about, replace BUSD with USDC. And I'm not going to go into these a whole lot, but to me, they just kind of fall into the category of this is something that wasn't being used and it's a waste of money, so let's put our funds in, put it somewhere else to better use. Okay, that's in my brain. Subsidized DAO using project manager proposals. This one is where it made it so that Claiborne didn't have to pay for the proposals he was putting out, which is logical to me. So the DAO would pay for those. Obviously, you had to be strategic and not throw out a lot of superfluous proposals to waste money, but I think most of the stuff I've seen come from him don't appear to be a waste. So solutions to minimize bot farms, another thing to against bot farms. I believe this one passed, but it did not go through. This is the one that he suggested incorporating a minimum card power. This is still under discussion, but it was largely, I guess, believed that that wasn't enough. And this has kind of led to Matt's current plan for Wild, as far as doubling the amount of SPS needed to be staked, as well as instituting a fee to play in Wild. So I think that was kind of the evolution of that. But he said that he's not completely written it out, though, because you could still have, on top of those two measures, you still could have a card power requirement to play. So new account SPS delegations. This is the one where if you're a new account and you pay... it's the whole idea of trying to get people up and running in Splinterlands a little bit easier. So you're a new player, you pay for the spell book, you have SPS delegated on your behalf for the first month. So the DAO will delegate 100 SPS for 30 days. So that gets a person up and running and shows them the idea of SPS staking and the value of it, since when there's SPS stake, they'll be earning something, but when that goes away, hey, you got to stake your own, right? So I think that was largely a good idea. Most people agreed with me. Adjust all rentals to minimum pricing. This is where it went to 0.1. Yeah, there was a lot of rentals that were going at less than 1.1, and it ended up being just a lot of work on the backside as far as processing power and everything like that. And there was just a huge backlog of extra, mostly Chaos Legion cards that were sitting in the system, just clogging everything up. So this proposal went through, and all the rentals went to a minimum 0.1, and there's actually a new one out that's asking to bring this up to 1 SPS, and I would go with that because 0.1 DEC is just nothing, So, and I don't know if we're going to cover it, but there was also a fee that was put in on rentals as well at some point. Rework leaderboard rewards. As I don't place on the leaderboard and I don't play on that, I can't talk to this a whole lot, but they did a rework on the leaderboards. At least it was proposed, and I'm not certain where that stood. If you are a leaderboard placer, leave a comment in the show notes or in the comment section, and let me know how that one went. Contract market maker for crypto.com, and this went through. This is another one of those ones where we're trying to get the SPS token out there on and trying to get a little bit of marketing going, right, as far as listing it in different places and trying to get a little action. I had to actually go over there and look because I wasn't certain. But if you go to crypto.com and look up prices and search, I had already searched, so it's right here in my recent searches, and we're on crypto.com. So that went through. Don't exactly like the graph here, but that did go through, and it was taken action on. Adjust brawl rewards. I had to refresh my memory because I'm not sure about this one. I don't know if this actually took place. The purpose of this proposal is to adjust brawl rewards to promote advancement to higher tiers and prevent stagnation by guilds that find it more beneficial to dominate lower tier brawls. Comment in the comment section if you know if this went through. I mean, I know it was passed, but I don't know if it actually went into place in the game. Proposal for a collaborative event between D-Crops and Splinterlands DAO. This went through, and I was in on it. I bought 6 olive trees, and they're actually still growing. I mean, it's not the right season right now, but I can still use them. You can go over here to D-Crops and go to my tree section, and you can see I have my 6 olive trees. And during the spring, I can harvest off them once a day. So that went through fine. I don't know exactly how much D-Crops benefited out of this. I know that I think over 50% of them were sold. So hopefully it helped D-Crops out a little bit, but I don't think there was any work on the Splinterlands side. So they basically sold each olive tree for 25,000 DEC, which helped out DEC a little bit at the point. And it was really just like marketing for D-Crops. Okay, let's see here. Gladius Stones for merits, that went through, and you can buy Gladius Stones for merits. I'm not going to switch over there, but if you go to buy your Gladius Stones, you can click the drop down and choose your merits. Community proposals guidelines, changes to the community proposals. So like I mentioned earlier, this is where things changed a little bit. The guidelines for creating a community proposal will be as follows. A player can share a well-formulated draft of the proposal they would like to discuss publicly and tag the current DAO project manager, Claiborne, or message them directly. They will review the draft to determine if it is something within the scope of the DAO and if it is an actual proposal. The purpose of the community proposals is not for UI requests or changing Splinterlands gameplay and design decisions, nor are they for running personal agendas and random ideas through the DAO. Some would argue that this is not the purpose of the DAO at all. Like I said earlier, that's gameplay. That's Splinterlands game. Okay, that has really, if it doesn't have anything to do with the SPS token, then that's on the game team, right? There's a clear delineation there in my mind. If you'd like to submit a proposal, for something along those lines, you will need to burn the 100,000 DEC and do it yourself. So basically, he's making the putting it out there that you can put in a proposal if it's something that the DAO would cover, and he would consider putting it out on paying for it from the DAO, basically for you, if it's a good enough proposal. Okay, Sushi Swap bonding protocol launch partnership. So once again, I had to do a little bit of homework. I jumped over here on Sushi Swap or sushi.com and see that the SPS is available under the bond section on sushi.com, and they have the SPS ETH bond asset as well as straight up SPS. So once again, I'm not up on this, but it is available. So it did go through and it has been put into place. Other people can talk better upon those topics than I. Updated tournament formats. This is where a number of options were put out as far as what kind of tournament formats you would like to have, and everybody settled upon this set here. Newest set, modern, wild, and then 2 random sets which would cycle in and out. Brawl, count all phrase equally. And now we're starting to get into the newer stuff that's this year. And the problem was a guild can just leave a fray empty. So what this led to is basically put now, if you are in a guild and you have frays open, you need to try and fill those because otherwise you're going to lose those points straight off the bat. In our guild, we try to fill every fray, okay? Even if it's a fray like gold foil, you know you're not going to do very well in, at least it's filled, because if the other competitor that you're matched against or the other guild that you're matched against does not fill that fray, that's a give me for you. So at this point in time, if you're playing in guild brawls, you need to try and fill every fray. So that's where this came from. Voucher pool adjustments. Once again, this is one of those other cleanup effort type things in my mind, where if the proposal passed, which it did, the DAO will stop paying all incentives, 300,000 SPS per month to the voucher swap Hive pool on tribal decks. So I jumped over here on tribal decks just to check it out because I don't keep up with it, but it still appears that there's a swap Hive voucher pool over here. So I don't know if this is exactly what they're referring to, but it looks like it's still active because I got the last 7 days selected here. So maybe that's something that's been voted on and has not had action taken on it yet. If you know better, please leave a note in the comments. Stop paying DEC DAI liquidity pool incentives. Once again, as voted in, a lot of people are voting for this cleanup effort to restructure how the DAO funds are being used. Push and shove token went off as far as I know. I know there's been a lot of chat on Discord about it. It's just at this point, it did pass 85. You can see I voted against it. I don't think we need any more tokens. I know they're not exactly within the game itself, but I've got enough tokens. Okay, we need to concentrate on SPS and then secondly DEC. I know there was a explanation about how this would be good for Splinterlands, but I still think that the best thing you can do at this point is buy card packs and buy SPS and stake it if you're really interested in the game, right? The card packs give money to the team, and staking SPS is better for SPS overall, okay? Reduce SPS BNB liquidity pool incentives. Once again, another change to clean things up. Reduce SPS WETH liquidity incentives. Once again, establish an exchange fund to pursue an SPS listing on Binance. Of course, I'm in the US, so I can't use the regular Binance. I don't see SPS listed on Binance right now. So maybe that's, once again, something that has not had action taken on it yet. It was relatively recently, so that was March 19th. It did get voted through. Obviously, Binance is big in the rest of the world. Here in the US, we would have to use Binance US if we wanted to take advantage of that. But I think all the listings could only help. I think the major thing, it's a different topic, but it could only help. Stop DEC USDC LP incentives and deploy DAO liquidity to pool. Don't don't know a whole lot about that, so I'll leave that there. A lot of these financial changes I can't really speak to. Expand market making contract with Flowdesk. I'm not up on that change, and it just happened last month, so I'm sure action has probably not been taken on this yet. Reduce SPS and swap Hive liquidity pool incentives passed. Alternative solution to minimize bot farms. So if you remember back, this is a further modification of the idea that was originally put out to minimize bot farms. But this was a changing of the idea. And then this further got changed into the idea that Matt's going with now to change Wild, which is implement the 2,000 DEC fee per season for Wild, and then also double the amount of SPS you need to have staked to maintain the earning level currently. So it's just an evolution. It's an evolution of ideas, right? So there was an idea, that idea got updated to this one, and then Matt took this one and kind of changed it around, came up with what he feels is a better idea. So next up, revamped Splinterlands affiliate program. I don't know why this is being tagged as passed when it really failed. This idea was put forward by Bulldog 1205. Basically put, the affiliate program has really done nothing. Okay, all us, especially all of us YouTubers who are trying to benefit a little bit off of the affiliate program, it's really done nothing for us over the years. Okay, so I'm not going to speak in detail, but some people didn't like. I think most people think that the affiliate program needs revamped, but didn't like a few pieces and parts of his idea the way he stated it. So I think the overall idea, the affiliate program does need to change, though. It needs to be updated because it's no good for anybody. I mean, it's good for the team because we go out and we get people to start playing the game, but it doesn't really get us anything in return. Ghost card liquidity bots. I like this. This is the whole idea. I think that, in a lot of different games where PvP style game, matchmaking style games, you will also have, sometimes you have low match liquidity, which we do currently in Modern, and they supplement the regular players with basically bots, right? So, and in this case, we have bots that were put into place to help out the situation. But this one passed, and basically it's stating that the team can formulate more bots at different levels and not have to be dictated by exactly what cards they have on hand. So they can just use ghost cards for those bots to play people in Modern. Obviously, those bots are not going to take anything out of the system. They're not going to get any rewards or anything like that. So I like the whole idea, and they can make a much wider spectrum as far as different levels of bots for play. So I voted for it. I like the idea. It hasn't been put into place yet. This just went through. This one, update to Bulldog 1205's revamped Splinterlands affiliate program, did go through. And I'm not going to dig into this because there's several different things here. You can look at it if you're interested, especially if you're a content creator. You might be interested in this. But it hasn't been put into place yet, obviously. It just happened. But I think that it's long overdue. And we will end up here with the idea that we've been talking about that passed from Matt, and that is to, once again, shooting at hopefully getting rid of a bunch of the bot farms in Wild, and that is by instituting a fee, 2,000 DEC. I've said this a number of times, but it bears reference to several things we talked about. 2,000 DEC and double the SPS staking. So that's going to directly affect me, even though I just run 2 bots in Wild. That's going to directly affect me, and it will probably end up with me shutting down my lesser account, my lower end account, and it will I'll basically have to take into account after I try it out for a couple weeks on my main account whether it's worth it or not. Okay, I'll have to judge what I'm making off the account versus what I'm paying. Maybe I will just quit botting in wild and just play in modern. Who knows? Either way, I thought this was well worth taking a look at, and I know it's a longer video, but I hope this brought some good information to you, especially if there's something you forgot about in the past, or if you're relatively new to the game and you didn't know some of these things happen. Well, either way, thanks for sticking it out with me. Leave your comments in the comments section about what you think. If I got something wrong, let me know. If I got something right, let me know too. Either way, this has been Bronze Dragon. I hope everyone on your side is happy and healthy, and I will see you on the flip side.